that to me is interesting because what it's saying and what they talk about in this thing is they talk about how
in the chat.
Natural, natural growth. It evolves through hubs and through shortcuts. So when you have hubs where you have more links per node, people have like a preferential attachment to those hubs, and then the more shortcuts that you have across a network, the faster it grows. So if you're talking about like a growing hex and pulse chain as a large network across like the planet, you want to have shortcuts across countries so that you have people who aren't clustered like adjacently. You actually want to have in each different country, you want to be connected to someone who might have a different sphere of influence, I guess.
Yeah.
So those shortcuts are crucial. So maybe even streams like this, where if we can talk to people and other streamers who are talking to people in other countries, we are effectively giving shortcuts, because we're talking to people about Pulse Chain in our adjacent cluster. But when you talk to someone on a stream, you're talking to them in Korea or in Brazil or in, wherever. Canada.
We could take that farther though to talk to people on different chains, right? Like different, like different crypto spheres. Right? I've been trying. It's hard, but like I've started to see more openings lately on that. Like I've been doing these streams with this crypto empress lady, or not streams, like YouTube's Twitter Spaces, and like it's like a general crypto, right? But like they're mostly talking about Base and Solana and normal things, but like they were super happy to have me on, right, and talk about DeFi stuff, and I mentioned Pulse Chain and often enough that it's not that it's there, but it's not weird. And like I get invited back like twice a week now. I'm booked with her.
That's awesome.
So it's been excellent. But
so creating like those shortcuts to different communities is going to speed up the
getting
network
your
growth
foot in the door
exponentially.
Different ecosystem.
I think there's this window though for Pulse Chain people, because we are so DeFi literate, right? Like that's my key to getting into that space was like, okay, I can talk about this, I could talk about this, but like if you look at like certainly the four of us, but even like the average Pulse Chain user would be able to talk about a lot of DeFi things, wallet security, right? Like even the average one, I bet you has some understanding of a lending protocol or something like that, right? Like how does liquid loans work? How do liquidity forks work? Like they have some understanding. And the top like 20%, which would be a lot of people, would have a very strong understanding when you take them into a space that's mostly talking about Solana and Base Chain where they're trading meme coins. Like the top 20% of Pulse Chain for sure knows what V3 liquidity is. I told those guys about that the other day. Their mind was blown, right? Like,
wow.
Like whereas like this is stuff we knew like, I don't know, 3 months in, right? You figure it out. There's huge opportunity for not just influencers, like literally anybody on Pulse Chain who has that level of skill to insinuate themselves into groups that aren't Pulse Chain oriented and teach them about DeFi, and then like you can bridge the conversation into Pulse Chain.
And the more sort of hubs that you have that you connect to, the more sort of links that node has, the more likely you're going to connect to more people. So because of that preferential attachment thing. So KOLs, streamers, whatever, in spaces, anything that you can do. And it also showed that a small change in sentiment, whether you defected or cooperated, sometimes these networks are on a bit of a knife's edge, right? And then when people start to defect or cooperate, that start like in a cluster, that actually people tend to copy in large networks that behavior, and it spreads. So the overall network can turn to be overall cooperative or overall negative, defecting based on just one person who starts this chain reaction. So it kind of empowers you to realize that maybe, we can make a difference to overall sentiment in a network, particularly if you cluster with people who are like-minded.
So, what a super interesting discussion that I've jumped in on.
What is up, 43? Very well, mate.
What's happening?
Good to hear you.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I have
it's-
never heard. Oh, sorry, I just like
No, go on, go on, go on.
on. I was just going to say I've never heard the prisoner's dilemma applied in like a network effect kind of context. That's kind of
Yeah,
cool.
I'll send you the link afterwards. It's worth a
Yeah.
watch. I had to watch it a couple of times, and I was like, "This is interesting," because it makes me more optimistic for the future as well. It actually makes me more positive to think
It
that
means you have like an effect.
you actually have
right?
some effect on it. Yeah. Whereas
Yeah.
sometimes when you're depressed or despair, because you zoom into the volatility on a chart, and even though Bitcoin is making higher highs on a monthly, but it's down for this 4-hour period or whatever, and then you think, oh, there's nothing I can do, it's all going bad or whatever. It's like, no, there is something you can do. Maybe
Compounding
you
effect.
just letting your emotions dictate. If you sort of zoom out a little bit, and then you understand how these
Speaking
things
of
work.
emotions, how is?
Yes.
I mean, you might have already covered this, but how is everyone feeling?
Beat up.
Look, I think I'm slightly more optimistic for the future, and I know that the prices are bad and everything like that at the moment, but I sort of think that you just have to wait longer, and it will, I do see a future where prices will be higher than they are now. So
Yeah,
why would I sell
absolutely.
now? Like, if I think the prices are going to be higher in the future, there's no reason to sell now. So I don't understand why people would.
Although
Hey,
I welcome that they do at these prices, because I would
Yeah,
rather that they exit at these prices. As much as
that's
it's
true.
painful to endure as a community, it is
Mm.
definitely. I mean, anyone who says it's not painful, unless you've got a bag of dry powder ready to deploy, the rest of us who have already, well, I can only speak for myself. The rest of us who have already, perhaps deployed, whatever they were going to deploy in anticipation of us already being, significantly higher than we are right now.
Mhm.
We're just sitting back and just watching it. But, I think that once, the fact that Ethereum has done what it's done so far this cycle and hasn't gone on, and beyond its previous all-time high. It's reached it, but it hasn't gone beyond.
Mhm.
That gives me a lot of confidence that, we're not done. We're
Yeah.
the, you know what I mean? Like that, I really think that, and we've had this discussion before about the 4-year cycle and what's the
Yes.
possibility that it goes out. Like, no one knows. Like, no one knows what's
Yeah.
going to happen. I think everything's on the table. There's arguments for it ending around the, early 2026, and there's arguments
Mhm.
for it, that could extend out further, because there are just so many things that seem to be different, and at the risk of, saying this time it's different, there are people who've said that it is so significantly different this time that it could actually be a little bit different, enough for
I
it
mean,
to
it's
be
certainly different, but how different? Yeah, and in
how
what
different.
ways?
Yeah.
I
We're
mean,
feels like
going to
that
find out.
conversation probably happens every cycle.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
And so what's really interesting about that 43 is that, like you say, we don't know. We've been speculating about this for the last 3 years as to how it's going to play out. And the fact that we're in Q4 2025 is like, it's really exciting to actually get a result, right? As to see whether the 4-year cycle is broken or not. But what's really interesting, I think, is that if it's like this sentiment thing where if everyone says that this cycle is going to be over in the 4 years, then because everyone has a consensus that it's the 4-year cycle, then there's no way it could ever possibly happen that way, because the crowd is never right. So
Yeah.
then that way everyone has shifted their thinking to saying, oh, 2026, 100% is because the crowd's never right. So it'd be 2026. And then so what they've sort of done is a lot of people have pushed it out to 2026, saying that this is that, but it's now almost the majority of people are saying 2026, which then goes back to, well, hang on, if the majority of people are now saying 2026, maybe it will be, towards the end of the year will be the Bitcoin top. I mean, you could still have the Bitcoin top at the end of this year in December, say, and then
you could have
ETH
Ethereum
top in
later on in
January,
2026.
and then alts in so Q. So I guess you could both be right in that case. But I guess
so
some
the
people are sort of
decoupling may
saying,
not be from a 4-year market. The decoupling might be Bitcoin from the rest of crypto. I mean, it could be something along those lines.
And like very few hold Bitcoin now. Like it's like the big institutions that do it, who like want something a bit more reliable. I mean,
well, also
whatever
because
that
they can
means.
scale. I mean, so if you're getting a 30% gain for the year, that's not enough to retire your bloodline. You know, that's the why most people are in crypto. But for institutions, 30% is great.
Pretty happy
So
days.
they can scale.
Anything
in
over
at
20%
billions
is
of
rich
dollars.
people money, right? Like 30%
Mm.
is fantastic.
And so institutions have been buying Bitcoin, you know, in the billions. But yeah, they're not buying shitcoins.
Slowly acquiring, and through the ETF stuff as well.
I'm interested. I just want to talk about the Pulse chain.
Yes.
Like, let's forget about the wider crypto community for a second, and first just consider Pulse chain community, hexagons, like all the sub communities of tokens and all of them. What if like this December comes and goes, January comes and goes, February comes and goes, right? The rest of crypto looks like it's had its top, and we haven't. The question I have is, and this is not FUD or anything like that. It's a legitimate question. Are we so like steadfast in what we are backing that we're just not going to go anywhere, even in January, February? Like, is anyone going to dump all their bags at these prices in January or February? And I don't think hexagons would. I mean, I just don't think they would. I think they're like, okay, well, we've been here for 4 years. I guess it's another few years of this,
Yeah.
I agree. I don't want that. I don't wish that,
It's a gains thing, because I was talking to Klaus about this as well. And it's like, if the top had happened we talk about it as if it hasn't, but if it does top out in November, December, then if you were already up 10x, and then the argument was, well, that I don't believe the top is in, so should I sell? Should I not sell? I really want that next 2x to make it a 20x, or 5x to make it a 50x, so then you're splitting hairs over that last thing. There would be a decision that would need to be made. But if Hex is still at a cent at the end of the year, there's no decision, right? Because you haven't you haven't even made a gain, so there's no decision whether to sell. You have to be in profit at least some significant amount before you even consider it.
Probably a profit more than like whatever you would get in traditional finance, right? So
yes.
A lot of people, though, I think, are looking for break even, right? I think the break even is going to be a thing. Like on Pulse chain, like sack price, right? Like there's a lot will get out at sack price.
Yeah, but SAC isn't break even though, because if people have DCA'd for the last couple of years, then their average cost basis is no longer SAC price. Yeah. So the break even point could be a half of SAC price, could be 2/3 of SAC price. But I know what you're saying, an emotional level SAC price.
I think there's a connection there, but there's people who put in big money during that time, right? Like who would have put in 80% of their available funds, and maybe they DCA'd, maybe they didn't, but they'll still have that number in their head, 3 zeros and a 1, right?
But I get that, yeah. But consider that if the price goes low enough, someone can make 1000x before it hits SAC price, before it breaks even. If one person bought once and their SAC price is 0001, and someone else is, and the price goes low enough, someone's cost basis could be 10x lower, 100x lower, and then so it is relative to your cost basis. But I get what you're saying. Yeah, it is a psychological level, the SAC price. Yeah,
like the psychology of it doesn't make people want to buy when the price goes down, right?
Yeah, and so also in terms of glory, because if people are trying to, infer that maybe Richard is in this for glory, and that maybe the only way for him to get glory would be to get a 10,000x. Would you consider it glory if it went down 10,000x from SAC and then back up to 10,000x? Or you know what I mean? Or and then you claim it from the bottom and you go, did it 10,000x? Or would you only say it's glory if it was like 100x above SAC? So then it's like even, you know what I'm saying? So what
I don't think
constitutes glory? Do you count from the bottom?
I don't think the 10,000x thing is like, I don't think we need to have these lofty goals. Can we just like focus on maybe 10x, 100x?
Well, okay, I'll call it 100x.
Just focus on these things, and then
Well,
and then the
100x
10,000x can be
price.
later, guys. Later. Let's just get the one step at a time, one foot in front of the other.
Let's get a few X.
That's sub-mil FUD. That's sub-mil FUD right there.
Sub-mil FUD.
It is sub-mil FUD.
We know that Richard's going to calculate from the
for
bottom,
like a couple of years now.
You're right about that.
But so what? Hex is like, was it 007 or something? So, I mean, yeah, a 10x is 7 cents. So you know 100x is 70 cents. That's not like beyond the pale. 100x.
Like previous high of whatever 50 cents, right? It's
50
like
cents.
It's less than 50% above the previous high.
I've heard hex to $1 is what's happening.
Oh yeah,
That's
that's
realistically, if it went to 70 cents, there's no one out there who can complain. Nobody. Nobody.
Yes,
because
right.
even if it's only like, that 20 cents or 15 cents higher than the previous all-time high, we're talking about like in the context of the price dropping down to sub 1 cent. So, I mean, it's so, I mean, everyone has had ample opportunity, given that it's been so low to accumulate more and then get more X's if they did buy the top. But you would say if it hit 70 cents at that point, everyone's in profit apart from the person who just bought it, the very last person to buy it.
100%.
I think the people who complain would be the ones who didn't, who didn't buy it, who sold it, 3 cents or whatever, are going to be the ones that complain when it hits 70 cents.
I just want to quickly say hello to the chat because I just realized I've neglected the chat. As I tend to do when I get on a, on a bit of a flow state. So yeah, Hexagon Lost in Asia. What is up? Good to see you, bro. Ash, good to see you as always. Hope things are going well. What else we got here? Clintrons, what's up, bro? We've got, here we go. Class, gym buffs that don't need money are the best. Okay. That's good. I like that.
What's a gym buff?
I don't know. Like a himbo?
I thought someone
that
would
himbo?
like buff from gym, but
like a meathead.
Oh, okay.
You get that one?
I guess the male version of a bimbo, a himbo.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay. Yeah.
That's a bit concerning for me, but anyway. Yes, it can be therapeutic to block annoying people. Yeah, because the sentiment thing we were talking about. Oh, is Interpol doing the fudding all along? It was them. But did you see Roger Ver just got his case dropped by the DOJ? So that's awesome. Awesome news.
Good to see.
$43 million.
That's right. At the end of the day, it's just how much. It's just a question of how much. So maybe Interpol are doing a negotiation as we speak. And, we've seen Richard likes to save money in hotel, laundry by washing his pants in the bathtub. So maybe this negotiation is just dragging out a little bit.
That's funny. He doesn't have the coins for the little slot machine thing.
He's just washing his pants in the bath. But like maybe they're trying to extort him. Yeah, exactly.
Didn't Vitalik tweet about that?
Yeah, Richard just posted that. He reposted Vitalik's tweet and laughed at it, probably for that reason, because he had posted previous.
Because Vitalik was saying it was a ripoff, and that for the hotel laundry or something.
Or beef.
Yeah.
I've got to say that's one of my least favorite Richard Hart tweets of all time. I do not want to see that dude's fucking underwear ever.
I think it was his pants, but yeah, I don't want to see him naked,
Whatever.
like in a
Yeah, I
bathtub.
don't want
But
to see
still,
him
it
like
was funny.
washing shit with a stick in the bathtub.
I washed
With
myself
the like
with a rag on a
rippled
stick.
board and like
Dozer, that's exactly what I
Old
was just
school.
thinking of.
That I didn't
Old
want
school
to
Simpsons, mate.
go
Old
there, but
school
that's a
Simpsons.
Simpsons joke. That's right. I can do old school Simpsons jokes for any instance. I've always got a line for that, but that's a good one. I wash myself with a rag on a stick. Cal, what is up on FTX? By the way, on FTX. Okay,
is they back?
concerning.
Oh,
Are they back from the dead?
Oh no. People like,
what
yeah,
else-
it's a golden
What is
opportunity.
up, KD? Yeah. Jeez, well, that's sad, isn't it?
Mm.
That some of our coins are down worse than like Celsius, and
So they even trade?
Luna.
Yeah.
I just think that they got their money back. Some people got their money back, but maybe not all.
Not in entirety though, like it.
I'm scared regardless if crypto is made top or about to blast off. So yeah, I want to talk about that a little bit more. But I just saw Super Hex. What is up, bro? Super
What's up,
Hex.
Super Hex?
Give this guy a like and a follow on his Twitter, but it's TikTok that I think he's most prevalent.
TikTok and is he on Instagram?
And Instagram, I think
TikTok?
as well.
Popular with
On
the
Instagram.
youth.
Yeah, he's putting the hard yards out there, and I think he's actually
Good follow.
getting millions of views and things like that. I remember one
Yeah.
of them. There was like a video where I think it was something like 60% of people watched the entire video, and it had like 1 million views. So
Wow.
he's getting like hundreds of thousands of eyeballs on Pulse Chain and Hex. So I think it's the least we can do is to give him a follow.
Well done, sir.
Yeah. Full shout out. That's what we like to see, Well, hang on. ETH Moon.
I should probably do the same, but it's just like it feels like it'd be a lot of mental energy to get on like TikTok and Instagram and stuff.
And then
Yeah,
you got to do the trends and all the stay up to date with what's happening. And
But
it's not my agenda.
He's expanding. He's expanding the network.
Absolutely.
That's the thing. So he's targeting
Absolutely.
a different
huge
pocket,
value.
a different cluster that we are not targeting, and so he's actually
Props,
expanding the
mad props.
network hugely. By imagine, and that's the type of hub that you want, is that someone that can have these nodes that are not adjacent to you in a cluster. So he said, I've been in crypto since 2015, and I don't remember people focused so much on the 4-year cycle before. Everyone's looking left. The answer is probably right. So yeah, that's interesting, because a lot of people are saying the 4-year cycle now is broken. So then, and that's 2026. So then that also could prove that the 4-year cycle is right after, is right all along. But there is nuance there as well, because I know 43 and I have talked about this quite a few times, but it is interesting when you look back at, say, in 2021. So this is Bitcoin on the top pane, and then there's ETH panel, and then this is Hex. So what actually happened is, after Bitcoin topped, I believe it's about 27 days until Ethereum topped. Yeah. So that was the Richard Hart thing, where he was saying 27 days after Bitcoin top was the Ethereum top. And then when you see, someone may have made this top, we don't know, but they certainly ETH dropped. And then from that point onwards, Hex started to do really well. And this is a longer time frame than I would have, than we might want to see this time. But yeah, that same thing happened in 2017, right? It wasn't a double top. But if you look at the BTC top to Ethereum top, it's a bit hard to do this. I think, I maybe need to zoom in a bit more. Let's just do this. But it's 27 days. Yeah, I don't need to, spoiler. it's 27 days. So if you actually zoom in on this, you'll see that they're both 27 days. And that's why Richard, I think, was so confident. So that was 2017. That's why he was so confident in 2021 that it would be 27 days again. And it was. So I guess the inference here is that even if Bitcoin did top on November 10, we're still talking 27 days for Ethereum to top, right?
Yeah.
The interesting thing is, so, I mean, what does that make it like? It'd be like December 7 or something like that, right? So the interesting thing is that because Bitcoin did a double top in 2021, I strongly suspect that this was because of COVID. So, you know, when we had this 2020 massive COVID dip, and then a lot of people were at home and, you know, for whatever reason, we can get into
checks.
That.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. The helicopter money.
There was there was
isn't Trump
money
talking
printing.
about distributing some stimulus checks in the US?
He has been talking about it.
Yeah,
tariffs.
Yeah.
Like redistributing some of the tariffs. Yeah,
100%.
Maybe that,
and also because
something.
Yeah.
So in this 6-month period, they printed 40% of the total money supply, the US dollar total supply. 40% of it was printed in this 6-month period, from sort of, you know, March 2020 to like September. So that, I think, just created this massive early top, and then it did the double top, right? If our cycle is more like the 2017 cycle and we don't get the double top, that was actually peaked at around 16th of December, maybe 17th if I zoom in. So if you sort of said it was a 4-year cycle, like roughly, and then it was like 8 years from this top, is actually more likely mid-December. So then you've got to go 27 days after that to get like an ETH top around, like, say, the 13th of January or something like that. So it could still be, and then you've got to wait for, you know, Hex to do its thing. So you could see Q1 2026 and still kind of fall into this 4-year cycle category.
So what's the cutoff for you guys, though? I mean, yes, I agree with you. I think if it's in the first quarter of, you know, 2026, then it still falls into that 4-year cycle
kind
paradigm.
Of still 4 years.
Yeah, I agree. But at what point would you say, hey, this is no longer a 4-year thing? What's the
okay? I would say it's not 27 days. 27 days after BTC tops, right? That gives you a bit of a buffer to kind of go. It looks like BTC has fully topped, and Ethereum is still going up, and then you kind of going, is Ethereum going to top? And then at that point, so if Pulse Chain, Ethereum Strategic Reserve, if you want to call it that, is waiting to deploy some of those funds into Pulse Chain, you know, would it wait for 5K ETH? Would it wait for 6K ETH? Or would it wait for ETH to top? Like, what's the best bang for buck? Maybe it's going to wait for ETH to top, right? And maybe it's going to wait for that 27 days after BTC top. So if that's what we're waiting for, like, I guess if it doesn't happen at that point or within some range of that point, I would say that, yeah, we're boned. And keep in mind that you have to put this stuff in. If they're putting this into Tornado Cash, which I predicted would happen, keep in mind, I knew that this would happen, that they would start putting it through Tornado Cash, and that might actually shake people out because they think that they're just exiting, which is great. But the longer they leave it in Tornado Cash, I think
for the
anonymity set,
or anonymous, the longer they leave it.
Yeah. So, and we've just seen 5,401 ETH get put through the Tornado Cash like this week.
And like, it depends on how much is.
Don't you think that anything that? Sorry, mate, you go.
Okay, I was just going to say, with Tornado Cash, it depends how much else is in there. Because if you put in a bunch and there's only a little in there, it doesn't. You're just wasting your time and money.
The anonymity set has to be large.
And to that, but not only that, if all that, like, if this SAC funds are going into Tornado Cash and then a similar amount is bridging across the Pulse chain once it comes out of Tornado Cash, well then you haven't really achieved anything, have you? You've got plausible deniability, but you haven't achieved anything because people are just going to be like, hey, that's that $5,000, right? What
Well,
will
it
need
depends
to
how
happen,
many wallets you split it up into on the way back, right? Because people are tracking like
realistically,
a set of 20 wallets.
But it goes in as 100 ETH, or it goes in at 100 ETH, right, at the time, or 10 ETH, or whatever it is. Realistically, it will need to come out of Tornado Cash as 100 ETH, break up into multi-send into multiple wallets, and then go back into Tornado Cash as smaller amounts, then come out as smaller amounts, and then bridge across.
Maybe.
Otherwise, people are going to know 100% that is.
Maybe that's the part of the process.
1,000 wallets
I don't know.
with like half an ETH in each wallet would be like nobody's really looking at those wallets, right?
Yeah. It wouldn't be that hard to do though, right? Like
programmatically,
you could make like 10,000 wallets
do it
in an instant. Like it's not hard. And if you
there's
have
ways to mass send to, like if I want to send one ETH to 100 wallets, there's established ways to do that. Like it's not that big a deal. And you wouldn't, the second time you went in, right? Like let's say like there's 5,400 ETH, you send that divided to 1,000 wallets, right? With like 5 ETH each or whatever. The second time it went into Tornado Cash, it wouldn't have to go in as long because it's a way smaller amount, right? Like it wouldn't.
And they're kind of all helping, like
easier to hide. They'd be helping each other. You're right. Yeah. Full bunch of wallets, put in 5, it adds up to 100. It goes somewhere else. Yeah. That's good.
Any 100 ETH lots that come out of Tornado Cash and bridge across will always be suspect. As far as when I say suspect, it's not suspect in that it's allowed to do that. Like there's no reason that it can't do that. It's just if they're looking for anonymity or they're looking to obfuscate like this happening, then they would be best going back in after, like splitting the 100 into a smaller amounts, then going back into some sort of anonymity protocol and then coming out again. That
makes sense.
Make more sense.
Yeah. And so
the limiting factor is how many buttons Richard wants to press, right? Like, that's a lot of buttons.
Well, I would assume he would have a dev write him up a good airtight script, right?
Yeah, he could.
Yeah.
He doesn't like, the third party contract risk, right? So I would
True.
He'd be shy about that.
He can program. I know for sure he can program. He's not used to more modern programming languages, but he does know. So I think he could work it out.
Yeah.
But I mean, even if you didn't do the obfuscation, it doesn't really matter because, like, I remember with the SEC case that Richard won, right? Like, based, I know on jurisdiction and things like that, but there was precedent set where the judge, I believe, said something along the lines of, I couldn't care less what he does with his money because it's like at that point it's his money. You know what I mean? Like if people have sacked for a blockchain and then he's produced a blockchain, well then he's done.
They got what they wanted.
They got what they so and then it's his money. So then he can spend it on whatever he wants because it's actually his money.
Allegedly.
And that's and that's the thing. It's like we have to accept that once it leaves our wallet and we give it up, we no longer have any rights to it.
Which was in the statement or the terms and conditions.
And we've all accepted that. So it's just like, it would be nice, if that then pumped all our bags and made us retire for life. And that's the speculation. And that's why we've invested,
Maybe he doesn't dump it all in either. Maybe he does it over a couple 4-year cycles.
Yeah. So I thought about that. I wondered if he would only deploy 50% of it.
Yeah,
because I think if
you would get price appreciation still in another 4 years, and maybe you'd have more leverage later on down the road. I don't know. It's things.
I just don't know.
Is a lot. Like that's a bit. Like we're talking like
50% is huge.
Is massive.
It'd be like $400 million or something, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. But
like at today's price, it could double that.
That's only 100 million each, guys. Come on.
Got
to pump those rookie numbers up.
There's only like half a dozen people left in Hexaco anyway.
Just taken, like just ready for it to unlock.
How many people are watching again?
Yeah, that's right. It says here 290.
Yeah,
Don't worry,
let's
most
shut
of them are
this
Twitter
down.
bots, bro.
I
Ash
restreamed
is-
them. I've been restreaming them. I just
Half the
AI.
people in
AI is
comments are
definitely
my alt
listening in.
accounts anyway.
AI. Yeah, it's like
The
it's a
AI bots
huge
are
bet.
listening in, transcribing what we're saying, trying to work out if there's any relevance to anything whatsoever, and then upgrading or downgrading us, giving us a thumbs up or
Up the social credit
thumbs
score.
down.
Claire says she thinks Richard will call the ETH top. So that'd be
He calls the
interesting.
BTC top, which would just
He
be
calls the
27
BTC
days
top,
earlier, right?
Right?
So what was that fast?
He could make the ETH top,
You could
Oh,
make the ETH top.
absolutely.
Yes,
right?
yes,
like,
yes.
like let's say ETH hits
Absolutely.
$5,000 and Richard
Yeah,
says, yeah,
true.
that's enough. Like that
Yeah.
was the ETH top for this cycle. Right?
Yeah.
Seems likely.
And so people saying
And it would be
BTC followed
cascading
business
too.
cycle.
He wouldn't have to
Oh.
sell all of it. So
No.
I don't like this where it's like pushing goalposts, because it was like BTC was meant to be following the M2 and the alts were going to follow the business cycle, and then now BTC is following business cycle. It's like, come on. I'm still hoping that it's like BTC is following the M2 and global liquidity, and that yes, it hasn't tracked it recently, but it can still have a mean divergent. What's the word? We revert to the mean. So I'm not giving up on that just yet. To say that it follows the business cycle, the business cycle thing, yeah, that's a lagging indicator as well. So never cared about country treasury, pulse chain. Yes. Oh, Hex to Adora. That was me. Great call.
good call.
Oh, there we go. So I think we got to the end. So TikTok Super Goat, that's Super Hex. Yaveen, what is up? Replay Gang, appreciate you. And I'm not sure what
that was referring to something to do with the 4-year cycle. I can't remember.
Okay.
Now.
Yeah. So, I mean, part of it is cope. I understand that. And the way I sort of think of it is that when I was looking at the charts in 2023 and 2024, I kind of needed something to look forward to. You know how like when you book a holiday or whatever and you're kind of going, oh, well, we've got that holiday coming up. It's nice to just have something to look forward to. So that was, for me, was part of this whole like commitment to the Q4 2025, is that I could just defer like any negative thoughts I had by just kind of going, oh, well, it's only 2023. It's only 2024. Like we got to wait. So then now as it gets to like Q4 2025, there is a point where I'm like coping and kind of going, gee, I really hope it goes up soon. Otherwise, I just have to accept that I was wrong. But yeah, I kind of also think that you can push back maybe the November 10 to maybe December 13 or whatever it was. If you went off the double top being an anomaly in the last cycle and you went back to 2 cycles and then you sort of kept it to roughly 8 years, which then puts the ETH top around Jan 13, I think. So then, yeah, I mean, I can wait a fefew months like to find out whether
it just feels like such an arbitrary way to reason around like when something is going to pump, like it just that's just the way it feels when I'm hearing like the 4 years, like an attachment to this period of time, which I mean, if stimmy checks came out in November and then it pumped, that would make a lot of sense to me. If stimmy checks come out and then it pumps, that makes a lot of sense to me. Like, so
you're talking about retail, like what's going to get retail in, like, because at the moment we've got people from previous cycles, we've got crypto OGs, but you're saying maybe that stimmy checks would just get something absolute retail.
You need new money because the people in are already in. Like, who's deploying big amounts of, but having said that, obviously there is always the ability of the big players to make moves, and what in the past, it seemed like, people have rotated out of BTC into Ethereum, but that whole thing doesn't seem to have played out this cycle in the way it's played out previously. So that seems like what I've been waiting for, but it hasn't happened, right?
Yeah, not yet. I think there's still a bit of room to move. Certainly, the ETH BTC ratio has just been, horrific, and I think that's to blame for like a lot of alts just doing poorly. And I think that surprised a lot of people that they thought ETH would perform better. But it's been a Bitcoin cycle for sure. But in terms of that, getting that new blood, that retail money in, and maybe from stimmy checks, like you say, I also feel like we need like Doge needs to go to $1, something like that, where you get like just this meme coin that captures the retail FOMO, and then they go, oh well, hang on,
we're an Elon Musk tweet storm away from Doge going to $1, mate.
That's it.
But that's the type of thing that will get retail in. Like, I don't think us talking about zero knowledge proofs and all this sort of stuff is going to get retail in. Like they're just not going to. Whereas if they understand Doge to $1 or whatever it is, meme XYZ to $1.
That's why the PI narrative was so popular. Right?
Like
this concept of $1 people understand.
They kind of flog that to death, though.
No, but it's just retail love it. I can't get enough of it.
It's still going. It's dead in the water. And just
there's going to be a conference soon. I hear there's going to be PI badges.
Oh yeah. This weekend, I think it is.
Wow.
Oh, really? I didn't get an invitation. Did you guys get an invitation?
Look, I hope it does. I really hope that it all does really well, and that's because it's the network thing. The more people that gravitate towards the PDI narrative, then that's also good for the rest of Pulse Chain. Like, if you can get new people that gravitate towards that, like, I don't want people to sell their hex bags and buy PDI, but if you can get new people to gravitate towards PDI, I think it does actually help the whole ecosystem.
There's some holes there though that I'm concerned about. Like, originally there was a hole where there was an exploit and like it was basically getting bridged off chain. Okay, that got fixed. But like I haven't done a deep dive on this because like I mostly don't care. But the talk now is that there's going to be a PDI L2 of Pulse Chain.
Yeah, but every week there's a new thing
I'm with you, but if they actually do something like that and bridge out to PDI chain, like that won't be helpful.
That's true.
And
I don't think
very likely some sort of terrible extraction scam. I don't trust any of those guys with the technical abilities.
Hang on, when you say that they will bridge out to a layer to a layer 2 that they create, so they would bridge their PDI out and their and all their stuff. So what, that wouldn't matter, wouldn't it? It wouldn't make a difference, really. How would it matter? I mean,
well, L2s didn't do a great, like in terms of Ethereum L2s, like Optimism and Arbitrum. They didn't. Yeah,
but that's because no, but it only doesn't help because Ethereum give them really cheap blob space, right?
Yeah,
right.
I don't think that Richard Hart's going to be doing that shit, man. So their layer 2, is it going to be using Pulse for their layer 2? And if it is,
I think it would have to.
Not necessarily.
Yeah, it would. Well, that would be a layer 3 then if they start using PDI as the gas. That's my understanding. You can make layer 3s.
I wouldn't be, if they want to do a layer 2.
Token.
Honestly, if they want to do a layer 2, I just don't really do whatever you want. Like, that's what this whole space is about.
I'm more suspicious of them actually being able to pull it off in a way where it wasn't like broken or a scam.
I doubt it will happen.
It's probably nothing. It's probably not going to happen.
Yeah,
I think healthy skepticism about any vaporware is very fair and reasonable in this space.
Indeed.
Yeah, and look, I would also, caution against people that are thinking that as the price of assets go up, they might be able to DCA scale out into PDI and wrapped BTC as if this is some sort of bear market hedge. Like this is some kind of stable coin that you can hedge out into and ride out a bear, because that shit's going to get wrecked just like everything else in a bear, and
Yeah.
probably even more so. So like if you're trying to take profits into actual DAI, like bridged in, DAI from Ethereum, actual stable coins. I'll just say it on the record, I don't think people should think that they can hold PDAI and wrap BTC over a bear and have it not get completely wrecked, just like everything else will get completely wrecked.
But yeah, so there's no peg mechanism.
It's my warning.
End of story.
Just so, and McNuggets, yeah, I don't know if he'll want to hear that, but yeah, I'm just saying it. I think most people understand this, but I have heard a few people sort of saying that this is like some sort of bear market hedge, and that and I'm going, okay, that sounds like encouraging people to be bag holders is what that sounds like to me. Anyway, I try, but I could be wrong. I've been wrong many times before, and probably likely to be wrong in the future. So don't listen to me, and I don't really care if you do or don't. But either way is fine.
Don't listen to us. We've been wrong for 4 years.
Yeah, exactly. So I just want, from a more of an ethical point of view, I feel like I need to be clear about what I believe is to be true. But of course, I can be wickedly wrong. So make your own choices, and what's the thing where you kind of like you stand by the ramifications of your own choices? Like, I feel like people need to do more of that.
We call it being a man.
Yes, it's basically just being a man.
Yeah, just do that.
Just do that.
It sucks sometimes. I'll give you that. Like, it's not like there's bad days, but it is the play.
There's a good line from a
or be like a woman, or be like a woman.
Yeah. Just have strong ovaries or whatever it is.
Yeah. Ovaries of steel.
Strong. That's right. Well, there's a good line from there's a poem called "If" by Rudyard Kipling, I think it is, and it's something along the lines of like, there's if you can lose basically everything on a turn of pitch and toss, and then not cry about it, and then start again from scratch, then like that's part of it. It's like, this type of stuff happens, and then in the end it's like, then you'll be a man. It's like, so there's a lot of things in there. So it's worth reading. But anyway, what else is going on? We've got Blobfish King here. Oh, there was a really interesting comment from Rocket MOB. Supply shock will happen. I've actually seen recently that I think Ethereum, how you got the Ethereum ETFs? I believe they've just changed some legislation that might allow ETH staking in the Ethereum, like the BlackRock ETF. And it said here that Grayscale had just staked $5.1 billion worth of ETH. So it could actually be an Ethereum supply shock coming. So I think that's bullish for ETH.
That upgrade that they had not too long ago on Ethereum, where they allowed larger, like it used to be 32 ETH that could be staked, and now they allow larger amounts of ETH to be staked for institutional investors. So that might be that playing out in the legacy markets.
Yeah, it could be. I mean, so legacy markets love yield, right? So because they're putting large dollars in, they only need small percentage gains to outrun inflation. So even if, inflation might be 6.5, 7%, whatever, in terms of like money supply creation and fiat debasement, if they can outperform that, then they're on a par with gold and other scarce assets, maybe real estate. So then if you can get yield from if you can get yield from staking ETH, and you can get even small returns, from what we consider small returns, like sort of 10, 20%, like that's huge for
the way they measure it, as far as I'm aware, is on the Sharpe ratio, right? Which is comparing it to the return on bonds, and that's gospel, right? That's gospel. So that's your baseline. And then if you can get better than bonds,
because that's the lowest risk, right? Because that's backed by the US. So it's like the lowest risk.
That's supposed to be the golden ticket. So if you can do,
and then you go down that risk curve, and you get slightly more yield, but then it's like they still don't want to take on too much risk, so they're willing to accept, stonks, S&P 500 that is perceived to be low risk, and then some of these big Magnificent Seven companies or whatever. And then I guess gold is like a low risk hedge against inflation. So I think that seems to be the main concern, is to everyone understands that now that the dollar is not backed by gold, that you're going to, inflation is baked into the system and you need a hedge against this inflation. So, and then you just, how far down the risk curve are you willing to go? But yeah, so staking Ethereum, I think, is huge. I think it will create a supply shock of Ether, and hopefully that can be the catalyst for the next leg up. What is up, Finbear? How you going, bro? What's this one here? For the last 3 cycles, the top has always landed on the Fibonacci 0.382 level line after the halving, and that's in a few days. Oh, okay. Yeah, look, I like the idea that there's this 27-day buffer where it's like, even if it is the BTC top, like in a few days, we still got like 27 days for ETH to top out. Like, I know that's cope, but it's like, it makes me feel slightly better about it. So yeah, interesting to see what happens there.
What were you saying about the halvening?
Oh, so he said that, so I think it's like there's a average number of days from the halving is typically when the BTC tops out. But he said in the last 3 days, the top has landed 0.382 level line after the halving. So, I mean, I can pull that up. But he's saying it's in a few days.
I'm not familiar with the, what halving he's talking about. Like, in my head, I went to the BTC halving, but I was like, that's not happening anytime soon, is it?
No, he's saying after the halving. If I pull this up here, this was the halving here in 20th of April 2024. So after the halving, he's saying that the top happens at the 0.382. So maybe that's a fib extension.
Okay.
So if I pull this down, let's just get rid of this. I think I made my point with that. So this was the previous top. Well, actually, we've just passed the 1.618. Oh, that's actually interesting. So if you did the fib extension from the previous cycle from top to bottom, this 1.618 fib line.
Can you do a horizontal? Can you do a horizontal extension, like going from left to right, from the day?
So this from the previous top is this one here. That's that line, and then so I'm not sure where this 0.382 is coming from, but it is interesting to see that what we're actually at is the 618 above, like the fib extension. So that's it. But actually we're sort of retesting it. So that would be cool to see it pump from here up to the next fib line. Fibonacci stuff is interesting because I always wondered why, is this just a market feedback loop where people are expecting there to be resistance at this level, and then therefore there is, and it just is like a feedback thing. But what I've noticed is in nature, this Fibonacci, you see the golden ratio in spiral galaxies, and you see it in shells, and you see it in tornadoes and cyclones and all this stuff, this 0.618 level. It actually comes about because of the symmetry in when you have a growth of a system. That 6.1, that 0.618 is when it's because you have, if you multiply like numbers in the Fibonacci series, if you multiply it by 1.618, that's when you get the next number in the series. But also it's if you add the previous two numbers in that series, that's the next number.
So 1 plus 2, 2 plus 1 plus 2, 2 plus 3.
1 plus 1 is 2, 1 plus 2 is 3, 2 plus 3 is 5, and then 8, and then so it's like the two numbers preceding in the series is this, like the sum of those two numbers is the next number in the series. So you have there's a symmetry between the adding of the numbers in the series and also the multiplication factor. So
you can actually
and that symmetry
draw this quite nicely if you start off. You can draw it quite nicely if you start off with a box that's 1 by 1.
Yes.
Put another box that's 1 by 1 next to it, and then draw next to that a box that's 2 by 2, and then next to that a box that's 3 by 3, and then next to that a box that's 5 by 5, and then you draw a line that's from the center of those boxes that touches the edge of each one, and as it goes out, it sort of creates that spiral.
Yes. Yeah. So that happens in nature, like we say in shells and in cyclones as a ratio, because there's a symmetry. Yeah, right. And it's in heaps of things. Like I could name like 50 things, that it's in, but it's baked into the fact that there's a symmetry in the growth between adding something in a series and the multiplication, the factor, and that symmetry. So you actually see a lot of laws in nature are emergent through symmetries. I could go into it more about like conservation of energy and conservation of angular momentum and things like that actually come about through translational symmetries. And that's like the reason why you have these conservation laws. So yeah, if you bring it back to markets, I think there is possibly like an economic energy in a system, and then you have a growth of an asset, but that growth rate is still proportional to these symmetries. So that's why you tend to find these levels. So I think partly it's that there's a feedback loop where people know that these are potential levels of support and resistance, and then they act accordingly, and then it reinforces that level. But partly it could actually be that there is a fundamental, like growth, like preference, because of the symmetry that forces it into these levels. Anyway, that's what I don't know where I was going with that, but that's what I think.
Super interesting stuff, man. That's interesting stuff.
But anyway, maybe I went off track a little bit there. Hex to $1.
No, it was good. It was good.
Yeah, hex to $1.
Hex to $1.
That's right. That's right. RH has already paid up taxes and money. Yes, it seemed like the Finnish government are doing it's Finland, right? They were doing a bit of maybe extortion to try, allegedly get some tax revenue out of the SAC wallets, implying that they had raised the SAC, that SAC wallet's amount in the jurisdiction of Finland. So therefore they were owed some kind of tax revenue. But that to me sounds a little bit like extortion,
yeah.
And I highly doubt that the entity that is the Polsat was actually based in Finland.
I wonder if it's going to come down to a settlement, or if it'll be just lawyers will end it when they see that, like, his lawyers will like he has like a dream team of like $10 million lawyers that the SEC was scared of. Like Finland should probably be scared too.
Yeah,
really
that's
expensive,
the thing, isn't
right?
it? Yeah, and I think they have a history of dealing with Interpol red notices or something. I remember there was something about their law firm.
Coincidental, like qualification.
What a coincidence!
Yeah, maybe, but certainly the law firm had something on their website about.
Or he was planning ahead.
Well, they're taking their sweet ass time, man. That's all I can say.
Yeah, big time, big time. It is dragging on a bit, like. I was thinking about that because there's there was that Singapore Token 2049 conference that was during the week.
Oh yeah,
There was a crypto conference during the week, and it was like Charles Hoskinson was there and Justin Sun was there, and I was like, oh, wouldn't it be cool if Richard Hart was there? And then you sort of
He's
think,
too high profile. He's too cool.
Yeah, but Justin Sun, man, like he paid what is it, like $4 million for that banana taped to the wall and then ate it. Like
money laundering.
Yeah, but like he's a target, right? Like, he would have to
doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, that's money
laundering.
That just reminds me of that movie. What was that movie? Brewster's Millions, where they have to spend all the money in 30 days, and they're trying to figure out like ways to like waste the money. And one of the guys is like, "We can get this ship, and it's going to be made out of ice, and then we're going to like, we're going to sail it to the equator, and then by the time it gets there, it's going to melt." It's trying to figure out ways. Hilarious movie. Old school.
These days, you just buy an NFT, right, of a rock, an ether rock.
Yeah,
it's valuable.
Monkey. I like monkey pictures.
Yeah.
I thought you just.
I've actually made a killing on some monkey pictures, so I'm not totally against them.
What did you say? Just donate to Antifa.
I saw someone raid their base. They have this like anarchist base, and someone just waltzed in there with a camera, and like pretty wild. It just looked graffiti everywhere. Yeah, I think it was in the UK. It was just like some underground thing that they've taken over. It was like part of a train station or something.
Yeah, wow.
I was like, that's kind of wild. Like, that's it'd be cool if they were on the wrong, but they're on the wrong side,
Yeah. I saw that doco that I think you sent 43, which was about the agenda, was it? Or something like that. That was actually really good. I mean, it was bad. Like, it was scary because it was like
one of those, like, is it like the Zeitgeist? Like those scary kind of like
sort of.
It was sort of fairly basic.
It was good,
but then the way that they presented it, you kind of going, I mean, it was about the sort of, Rocca Negra, taking over.
Yeah. It's probably true, but you need to touch grass. Like,
yeah. Can you change it? Can you do anything about it?
Yeah. Speaking of this sort of in this vein, like, so they've got the social media stuff that's coming in as of December. Like, have you guys done any like auditing of your whole setup? Like, in
there's
the lead up to that,
phone, like a Trump phone you can get, and there's other things.
I mean, is there anything that because sometimes you've got like accounts linked to certain emails, and then all of a sudden,
I'm gonna lose most
if that
of my
email. Yeah,
it's just gonna be. It's just gonna be. I can't. There's nothing I can do. Some I need, but like, if I can let it go, I'm gonna let it go.
Okay.
Yeah.
I haven't really thought about it a lot, but I mean, I just would set up some Proton Mail accounts.
Yeah, true. If VPNs will work, give it a go. But I don't hold.
Will you guys be happy to do like the buy, like if they?
Oh, hell no.
Yeah. I mean, but that's the thing. Like, what if, for example, I mean, I've heard, I could be mistaken, but I've heard that YouTube might actually be included in that.
They said GitHub. They said GitHub, dude, is one of the speculative ones. I'm not happy.
What?
So I'm like,
I mean, there'll be something else. There should just be a blockchain for GitHub. Like, there should be a GitHub blockchain.
There's other
People
alternatives.
will find a way around it.
Self-hostable options. There's a lot of there's tons of stuff out there that's not Microsoft anyway.
If there was one, if there was one website you shouldn't fuck with like too much, it's like these software repository websites, because these dudes will just build some shit around your stupid laws.
They fully will.
Yeah. But Albo is going to do an interview with Trump, and Trump said it must be televised.
Ah, there you go.
And it's going to be around that date.
Oh no, I feel bad.
Yeah,
for Albo.
I don't know. The date's not confirmed. I could be wrong, but that's the news as of. He's going to get the.
Oh man. Yeah, I haven't watched the news for that long, for years.
I just saw it on my
or even commercial TV.
Do you know
yeah,
the thing in Australia is that, from my understanding, from what people I speak to, is people don't like Trump in Australia at all.
No, because it's the like that's the narrative. Right? He's a fascist, yada yada, yada yada. And to some extent, it's not wrong, but it is like you don't understand enough about America to be, it's just
they're brainwashed by the news shows, the New Corp and our
the left-leaning media
and our media is just
and our super
outrageously biased.
Don't like him.
So but I mean, what's the alternative?
Left is the new extreme right. The left from 10 years ago is the new extreme right in Australia.
If you're a moderate,
I was left, and they've all gone, whoa.
Exactly. If you're a moderate before, you're now right-leaning because the left have gone so far left to the extreme.
We should have healthcare.
And now on the right.
Jeez. Fast, you're
muted. You're muted, bro. Fast.
If you go to the extremes of the left or the right, you find terrorists. Right?
That's it. That's
basically the end result. Right? You find a militant terrorist group, like let's speculatively Antifa, but on the right, there's plenty of the same, right? Like,
you find fascists
with guns in army camps.
Yeah,
it's complex.
And the thing about being close to the center is that if you're close to the center, then you're used to talking things out with people who you disagree with, and coming to some sort of consensus. But that's not where we're at right now in the political cycle in the world. We're just like each side.
You can't change your mind. It just will not happen. It's locked.
The mean is offset left. It's offset to the left.
It's very hyper skewed.
And then, so if you're a moderate, then you sort of
you're a far right extremist,
right? Yeah, like
by being in the middle.
I just feel like politics in general is becoming more ruler. Like these democracies seem to be more behaving in like telling their people what to do, like in a way that they haven't previously,
and they
at least since World War II.
The social media wild, so they can say, look, what social media is doing, it's so negative, we need to crack down on it. Like they let it go ham. You see, like that's a personal conspiracy theory, but like I reckon they're letting things get a little too wild so they can crack down and say, look, we did it good.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Could be. Yeah, look, it's like I think that they will try and get away with whatever they can, and then it's up to us to push back a little bit, because they did this with the mandatory data retention, and you're sort of going, hang on, what? Oh, this is because of terrorism, and you're kind of going, are you sure?
Which we don't care about. We just don't care about terrorism.
It just kind of, the more that they sneak these laws in the dead of night through when no one's paying attention, the more it erodes your freedom. So it's kind of up to us to sort of call out the bullshit when we see it. Because
to me, it seems like a lot of these people who are making these decisions or pushing these things are actually quite ignorant about what they're doing. For example, in Australia, there seems to be a real push for digital ID and all this sort of thing, and the thing is that the expectation is that the platforms themselves will be retaining data on users. Now, if they're going to mandate these things, have they put any thought into where this data is going to be held? Where's the servers going to? Where's the server going to be? Is the server going to be in Australia? Is the server going to be in China? Is it going to be? Where is the server going to be? And how do you know that? So I actually heard a politician saying, it's going to be held in those, in servers offshore. And another politician was grilling him, saying, "Well, what's going to stop? Like, what's going to stop that from getting hacked?" And
right? Yeah,
and they said, "Well, they have to abide by the laws," and the guy very rightly so said back, "Well, what laws is a data center in a different country going to abide by? Are they going to abide by Australian laws? What's going to compel them to do that? It's out of their jurisdiction. And even if they say they comply by it, how are you going to audit that compliance? Yes. You can't audit that compliance. So if a country like China says, or a company in China says, yes, we're doing what you said, we're sticking by, there's
how do you know?
You don't know. And that's people's data that they're dealing with. This is not some other random shit that doesn't matter. This is not information that is irrelevant, like the temperature, like things that don't matter. These are people's, and you're going to mandate that they have to give that over. They're going to mandate it just to access like online. I just think that these people are just they really are just ignorant about the reality of cyber threats. And, I think that things can be done in a much better way through, you can do things in a better way. And their way is not a better way. Their way is just going to mess everyone up and get everyone's data stolen.
They're not technically literate. They're not.
Everyone's data will be on the dark web,
It already
thanks
is.
To these idiots.
And it's like a cost of like a cup of coffee to get a credit card, some ID, and a passport with it. Yeah. Like it's cheap.
But now it's going to be their digital ID. It's going to be biometrics. It's going to be everything like in one go.
Yeah.
So
it is.
These people need
their easier to me than other stuff, right? Because it's like even on my cell phone, like I don't use any biometrics because it's like you could involuntarily someone could take that away from me, right? Whereas like my code's in my head, it's more private.
Well, I think the price of freedom is eternal vigilance. That quote, and it's like we have to. Freedom is not a destination. It's like you have to continuously push back. It's like asymptotic. Like you can only approach this level of freedom from government sort of tyranny, and then you have to continuously push back, and it's a state of continuous pushback. So it is kind of up to us to call out some of this nonsense, and because some of it you wonder, is it incompetence or are they actually being malicious? I hope that it is incompetence, that they are going to pull all this data in.
Never attribute to malice what can be explained by incompetence.
The thing is, they are malice.
That's what I'm hoping,
and they are incompetent.
It's starting to look a little bit malicious, though. That's the only problem. So when you showed me that agenda thing, one thing that was, I thought, maybe a little bit malicious in intent, which I thought was interesting, was when they were cataloging in the guise of biodiversity, and they were cataloging all of the genomes of like these animals and plants, and it's just like for biodiversity is reasons, and then it's like, and then now we're doing this with biomarkers and all this sort of stuff. But it's like, why are you cataloging all these genes? Like how with Monsanto they were able to change the genes of like the wheat, so that the genetically modified wheat, so that way they could spray it with
Roundup.
Poison. Roundup. They could spray it with a poison, and then only the Monsanto grain would survive, right? So if you think about that and you translate that idea to animals and things like that,
no one who plays with
kind of a similar mindset. Where if you can edit out,
you could have massive strawberries, but that's not what they do. You know?
Exactly. Yeah, but so say you wanted to. I'm saying if someone wanted to, I don't want to give any ideas, but like you could edit out, say, cattle, like beef cattle or whatever, that genome, so that they are only these breed of cattle are resistant against a certain disease or poison, and then you could only buy Monsanto cattle, right? Because all the other cattle are susceptible to it. So they change the genomes.
I think it's already a thing.
So you have to have Monsanto branded lamb or whatever, and then you can kind of see how like that idea it translates to a lot of things. It's like, why are you guys mucking around with genes and cataloging all these genes?
I just wish more ethical people would invade these industries, right? With some moral compass. It's like you could do good things in this area. You can make the world food abundance, but that's not what they do. It's like, how do we maximize profit?
Yeah.
Seriously though, like if like we start like to talk about like GMOs and stuff like that, like if we took all that stuff away, like a portion of the world would starve, right?
Yeah,
That's true.
We're at that point. We
there is
need
specific grains.
We need it now.
Yeah.
But we may not have needed that initially if none of it was GMO, but now we do.
No. Seriously, like the actual increase in crop production because of like high tech fertilizers,
yield.
And like yield from like Roundup Ready is huge, right? Like Roundup is the main chemical they spray. It kills pretty much everything. There's another one they use for broadleaf things, but kills everything except for the wheat, right? So like the production is much higher, right? And like with the world population growing, the amount of land isn't growing, right?
Yeah.
So like, and then the only
other
option would be to cut down all the trees so that we could only have like farmland, right?
Yeah.
Like,
but so I guess what I'm saying is like, that's a good counter argument in terms of the volume and the yield. But then do you also introduce like cancers and things like that? Because a lot of
specifically non-Hodgkin's lymphoma.
Well,
interesting.
I mean, when you get exposed
like
to
a
chemicals,
cow is not a natural animal anyway, right? Or a chicken. Like a chicken is not.
But they were bred.
It's getting that way. It's getting that way. Like they've been. Well, even if they're artificially selected to have larger breasts for breast meat or whatever, and
you do it like a million times. But like when you look at like my dad's actually a plant breeder, so I've had some education. And like when you get like, and he was more of a traditional plant breeder just because when he worked, but like when you get to the point where you're using like nuclear things and stuff to cause mutations, like it's just rarely does it result in something that you couldn't do through regular breeding. Like it's just like speeds up the process. Like when you get to the inserting genes and stuff, like they can put a fish gene in a plant so it's like more resistant to cold and things like that. Like it's there, but it's like a plant breeder who does like 1,000 cycles is still going to get weird mutations and can pick weird things. And that's why we have chickens that are like have 500x the size of chests and they regularly would and can barely stand up, right? Like they wouldn't live in nature, right? Like a Chihuahua, also not natural, right? Like Chihuahua used to be a wolf, right? So like I just don't see any evil in this kind of stuff when it comes to food, because if it may not be organic, half the population of the world would starve.
Look, that's a good counter argument, but I just wonder about these databases when you catalog all these genomes, so that they may not have malicious intent, right? But when you catalog all of the genomes and you do put this stuff available, and then it does create a honeypot where people can take it, and then whether you had a malicious intent or not, when you originally created the database, people might be able to use that to do whatever. I mean, it's just like with the biomarker stuff,
right? Like, would you prefer that only the elite had the open source code, or can everybody have the open source code?
Well, only Monsanto can have the code, because if you grow their version of wheat, then you get sued.
I also got an
argument. Even if you're adjacent, you didn't plant it, but some happens to
pollinate.
Yeah. So if it's open source, then you
can get sued for cross pollination too, because it's patented.
Yeah,
it's kind of wild. It's kind of
wild. Kind of like that one side we're talking about science concern, the other side we're talking about a business concern, right? Like it's like, Monsanto's evil for sure. They're like, they're overcharging and stuff like that, but.
They're evil for sure. I like that. I'm wondering whether there's like a level of malevolence versus incompetence, and it's like a spectrum, and you're just like, but they're straight off evil.
There's no human soul there.
Yeah, that's allegedly.
So I what I find really interesting. What I think is really interesting is that I believe that the focus for all this stuff is probably on like finding some sort of shortcut, magical, chemical that can solve the problem. We've got no shortage of land in the world. The problem is it land that you can plant things in? and
arable land.
Exactly. So what's interesting is that, like, in the Amazon, they've found they think that the Amazon was widely
populated
with civilizations, because they're it's so dense that, but they've found they keep finding all these new and
structures.
They find all these structures, but they also found like a type of soil that is it's like a man-made type. They know it's a man-made type of soil, and that's the one. And they reckon that was like a man-made like mixture. They don't know how they did it or what they did.
They reckon it's with coal. So the coal like I think it's like charcoal, and it sponges up the minerals, and then the plants grow in it and like sustain the minerals.
And they could just put it anywhere. They could put it anywhere. And I just wonder, like, that seems like a much more sustainable way about going about, like,
ancient
you
wisdom.
know, feeding a lot of people and making land that you couldn't grow stuff in, you know, suitable for that sort of thing. I feel like that's the sort of direction we should go in, rather than.
It sounds very nice, but like if it worked, someone would have monetized this and would be, you know, like would be.
Hopefully it's happening. Hopefully it happens. It's very new. They've only just found it.
Fusion happens. That would solve all their problems.
You have to also wonder, though, is it their motivation that they want to have more people or less people? You know,
I've been questioning that recently, mate. I've been questioning.
Do they want to have more people?
Or
less people?
It's a grim.
Less people solves a lot of problems. That's for
less
sure.
people solve some problems.
Yeah. No people solves all the problems, guy. You know, no people solves all the problems.
Malthusianism, right?
There's an argument to say that.
This is an argument called Malthusianism, right? That the Earth only can sustain such a population, and it's kind of based on some good math and then some faulty like derivations of it. Elon Musk reckons he's done the math and we could double it. We could double where we're at. But like, who knows? And I think we're in decline, right? I think we peaked around COVID.
So there could be two competing factors here. You know, you could have, yes, the land could support more people per square kilometer or whatever, but then with our economic system, you know, if you don't have enough people, you know, paying tax or whatever, if you don't have it's based on a perpetual growth.
I think it's always a winner to have more kids, though. I think it actually matters.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, like, if you don't have enough people coming into a workforce and paying taxes and things like that, exactly. It's based on.
It is quite literally a Ponzi scheme, and I don't mean that in the pejorative. I just mean that's what it is. That's how things have been for the last.
Greater fools, right, to come along.
Well, so bank stocks, for example, like banks will always, if they make $10 billion per quarter as profit, they need to make $11 billion per quarter in the next quarter. They need to have perpetual growth. That's their thing. So then whatever they have to do to create that, charge more fees, sack more people, that's like in the interest of shareholders. I mean, it's this kind of psychopathic kind of thing, and it's unrealistic. But that's what they aim for. But so even with governments with, like, say, superannuation or 401k in the US, you know, they are going to need more and more people to pay taxes so that they can pay off their ridiculous debts or keep paying themselves, you know, whatever, through corruption or whatever it is.
This has always been
the population increase, you know, but it's dependent on that population increase, right? Or the immigration increase. So you've got those two factors.
This has been what it's, you know, in our lifetimes and longer. This has been the case. What's interesting is the paradigm shift that's going to happen when we get the fusion of AI and robotics.
Sorry, I always wanted to make the same joke, but I never
yes, I was about to make it as well, but
you need the "Are you being served" joke. That's what it is, in case anyone's wondering. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, so I was just going to say, robotics is the only thing that I can imagine that will change this. That could change
Automation.
automation,
Yeah.
but also robotics. I mean, well, if you can
That's
have
scary.
a robot that can just hoe a little field in your backyard
Yeah.
and help you plant things yourself, like you don't have
Monitor
to do the
it.
hard work. It's not that
Yeah.
hard. You can do it yourself,
how-
right? But if you don't
so,
like
but
doing
when-
it,
I enjoy it.
When robot tax though, when are you going to start taxing these
think-
robots?
oh, bro,
I
I'm going to
reckon
have
give
an
out
open
shares
source
in the
Linux robot.
You're going to have to
Yeah.
start taxing robots. It's the only way they're going to make the numbers match.
It all comes down to power, energy, right? If
It
you have
does.
unlimited energy, you could, there'd be ways you could make unlimited fertilizer. There's ways you could, make unlimited automated devices
is-
that do your farming for you. But it's like,
To go
so
tangential.
you gotta crack
you
cold
gotta-
fusion, Doza. Get on the cold fusion, eh?
Cold fusion. Yeah, look, I'm on it. I've got it in
30
the
years
background
away.
here.
30 years
It's
away.
this is the where
Yeah,
is it here?
that's the key.
This is the
That's hot fusion.
Nice.
that's hot fusion. Fair. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, cold fusion. Look, I think the
Pipe dream.
zero point energy stuff, like getting energy out of space time itself, I think is probably more likely.
You just reach in and grab it.
Well, in terms of like there being in the quantum fluctuations of space, there's energy. Like you have virtual particle pairs that come into existence for a small amount of time, and then the particle antiparticles like annihilate, and there's energy in that. So I think that's possibly one route to go down. Like if you're looking like, Hawking radiation and that sort of stuff, you see effects of it, but it's certainly there. Whether or not you can, condense it into some sort of storage is a different matter. But yeah, look, that's why I need to be, I need my hex bags to go up so I can actually contemplate things of use, and
Yeah.
put
We gotta
my
get our
mind
head-
to things of importance rather than
Everyone's back.
watching
So
crybabies
we
on the
can-
internet. On my Twitter feed, I have to just mute. It's taking a lot of my time muting all these people.
Cold fusion could be here by now, but we've got to mute
Yeah.
you. So sorry.
It's like I need to start
Guys,
using my
I'm
time a
going
bit
to
better.
bid you farewell. It's been very nice
Awesome.
chatting to you.
Yeah,
I
as
will
always.
catch you on the flip side. And
Awesome.
hopefully when the price starts doing well.
Sounds good. Thanks, 43. Always a pleasure, man. Have a good
Later,
weekend.
guys.
Take
Cheers,
care.
man.
So yeah.
Yes. Should we try and steer the ship back to crypto? I mean, it is.
Yeah,
hard.
I think Klaz is asking us questions, trying to get us to talk about crypto again.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
NVS
probably why.
Crypt, what is up? Thank you for the nice comment there. And it looks like Ash was talking about a vertical fib. So I was doing vertical fibs. So okay, anyway. Let's have a look. What else? Dingo Wolf, what is up? What does everyone speculate the tornado cash is for? Making it rain. Yeah. That's what we're in it for.
It's a tornado.
And my other speculation was paying off Finland, or something like that, right? Which I would be, based on the amounts, I'd be equally bullish if that problem went away with 4,500.
If you could just pay them off, like, okay, well, fine, done.
Sure.
Yeah,
Or make
I'm
a
sure it will
settlement.
come to that. I think it will come to that. It's just like, how, like we said before, Richard
Who
likes to
knows if
save
he was
money
even
on
in Finland? He probably just owned a property there, and they're just like,
Well, it might be a principal thing for him, right?
the principal thing. Yeah. So it's like how much? Like if it's like $5 million, just pay it. If it's 10 million,
yeah,
hang on.
pay it on the
maybe
condition
there's a
that it
point.
never comes back. Like
Yeah.
you don't pay it, and then they go, see, he can pay it, pay us more. Like,
Yeah, it's extortion. It's like, yeah, at what level? Then who else is going
Yeah.
to step up and go, oh, well, actually, you also owe this and that. That's just how it works. I had a couple of questions for Fast. And actually, you might be able to also answer this base rating, considering you're a programmer. But so,
okay. Allegedly.
how Liberty Swap, allegedly, how Liberty Swap has got the cross-chain swaps from Solana.
Oh,
You know how they're doing that?
I
Is there a
know.
way that Phantom wallet, because they are predominantly on Solana, but they have other networks as well that you can connect to. Is there a way that you could somehow use Phantom wallet and then have like a drop down where you connect to Pulse Chain, but then you're doing swaps through Liberty Swap? And then even maybe once you've gone that one step through Liberty Swap, you could also go through Pateus or something to get any asset on Pulse Chain.
You could totally use Phantom wallet, but like the issue is you're moving from non-EVM to EVM, right? So like I haven't done their Solana thing yet, but there must be a box where you put in your EVM wallet.
Yes.
Right.
Oh, okay.
So it'll be a different wallet address that's receiving it on Pulse Chain than is sending it on Solana.
But they already have that. Like if Phantom wallet already has like, so you have a Solana wallet, and then you also have your EVM wallet.
They do Ethereum, yeah. But they don't do.
It'd be the same wallet as Ethereum, but it would just exist on Pulse Chain. Sorry, say again.
They don't do. There's no Ethereum. There's no Pulse Chain in the Phantom wallet. Like there's not.
No, not now. But I'm saying, could they incorporate it? Because the problem with them, Phantom wallet incorporate was that they probably had no way to bridge, like you say, the non-EVM to EVM. But see, Liberty Swap already do that. So it's like the work's done for them. They just need to route it through Liberty Swap and then through Pateus, and then they should be able to offer any asset on Solana for any asset on Pulse Chain through Phantom wallet. Like, and it wouldn't even be that hard.
That's not why they're not doing it, right? Like Phantom wallet has a curated list of chains it accepts that include, like you said, includes Ethereum with an EVM wallet. So they have, but those are two separate wallets, right? Like for sure. Like you have your Solana wallet, you have your EVM wallet inside of Phantom, but like if somebody can make that deal, great. But it's just somebody just needs to make the deal.
I think you can. I think you can fast. I think you should. I think you can. Someone with motivation should convince Phantom wallet to do that.
If Phantom wallet add Pulse Chain would be good. But we're getting more and more things coming online. Like we got that hyperlink bridge and stuff like that. And but Liberty Swap, how they they're kind of a cross-chain swap, but mostly they're like they just have that big pool of Pulse, and they'll give it to you if you give them money on other chains, right? So it's pretty, it's pretty simple in its way.
Okay.
But yeah, to move from Solana to Pulse Chain easily, I think is a worthwhile endeavor.
Yes. Well, I'm glad I asked. The other thing I was thinking was, there was two things. One was, there's like a Railgun wallet. Hopefully RH is in the process of like forking the Railgun wallet, and they can do some sort of privacy wallet or something like that. That might be cool. But the other thing was, there's a huge sort of narrative or meta at the moment about the perp dexes, and it's the battle of Hyperliquid and Asta and all this sort of stuff. Could we not get a perp dex somehow associated with PulseX, like a PulseX perp dex that somehow has margin trading, and could even have lending and borrowing, like maybe the Liquidity sort of style, Aave style.
It's all just adding different protocols together, right? There's half a dozen versions of perp dexes, like GMX. Like on Pulse Chain, we got Fame is a fork GMX, one of the better ones. There's Hyperlink is a new thing. You could fork that. Like it all could be done, but it's all just like adding on different blocks. Like they're not connected.
Yeah. But I guess what I'm saying is the problem with Fame is that there might be a couple of things in terms of the TWAP whatever and the Oracle feeds and price feeds and things like that. But the assets that are on Fame are only RH assets. Whereas I think people might want to come to Pulse Chain to do, like, you could have a privacy perp dex, right? That somehow incorporates a privacy element to it, where people come to Pulse Chain purely because they want to do leverage, no KYC of assets, and somehow, but all assets, like I'm talking, whatever, BTC, ETH.
Yeah, so there'd be a lot of assets bridged to chain for this purpose.
And then they would bridge them in and provide liquidity in PulseX, which would help the buy and burn. and all the trades would also it would help with the buy and burn. And then but yeah, you would encourage people to bridge assets in and provide liquidity. You would also encourage, the fees could go back, like, because you know how with pump tires, right?
Yeah.
The fees go back into buying PLS, I believe.
Yep.
And so you could do that where the fees from the perp decks could go
which
into
would be
buying.
way higher. Right. Perp dexes make bank.
Yeah. And so, I understand that, Richard has never
moral
been a
dilemma,
fan of.
though.
Yeah, so that's what I was going to say. So Richard's never been a fan of leverage, and the ladies look at leverage and encourages people to never use leverage, and I get that. But also but pump tires exists, right? So there is a meme coin factory, which also kind of goes against the, RH's maybe vision of the past of saying, why would you buy these shit coins that are going to go to zero when you can buy something of actual value? But then they've also created a shitcoin factory. So like, at what point do you just go, if you can't beat them, join them? And if the meta is perp dexes, how hard is it to implement some sort of, but you could add it as a privacy perp dex, could be the add value.
Yeah, but then definitely sounds interesting. I just I would really cringe, like, just like, like, clearly, like, there's some pros I talk to and it's like great, but like most people I talk to in a day, like, I really don't want them on perp dexes. It's not.
True. A lot of people get wrecked. Yeah.
Like, I don't. I understand. I'm not like a really deep dive into that stuff, but like I have a strong understanding, and like I don't touch it.
Yeah, maybe it's a bad idea. Maybe scratch that. Don't do it anymore.
Lending, though, right? Like is different, right? There's a huge, like, it's still leverage, right? But like there's a big difference between like 50% leverage versus 200x leverage, right? So like a fork of Aave, which we already have again, but like, you could have more, like, where you can put in like $1,000 and take out $500, right? Like, that's like,
that's slightly
that's
different.
safe. It's a good tool if you understand it. Like, you could really use that to, and still it's generating a fair amount of fees. You can use them for good things, but like, you could go through the list of every good crypto protocol and say, all right, should launch one of these and use the fees to buy and burn, the thing that you like, right? So like, the more beneficial stuff like that he does, it's good, but I don't know if it fits the track record of what we've seen so far, right?
Yeah, and it might take a long time, like at least 2 weeks.
Indeed.
So
at least 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
The perp thing is a trend, though. I've seen that too. They're popping up all over. There's actually things where you can kind of like launch your own perp decks, basically, right? Like tools,
right?
Like tools where you're like, I want to launch a perp deck today. I'm going to call it this. This is the website name, like pump.tires for launching perp dexes.
Oh,
wow, that's crazy.
That's
awesome.
Yeah, that's a big gross.
Yeah.
I have another one here, which I think is a lot easier to do. I think someone could easily do this. In fact, so I was just thinking, how you get those Git books where you go to a chain and then there's like well, how does this thing work? Or how does this? Yeah, it's just docs. So that actually made me realize that there's this pulse chain stats thing, which I haven't brought up yet, which I should. But this pulse chain stats.com is really, really cool. And it's got a whole bunch of features in it. So check it out. Maybe I'll put it in the chat here so people can check it out in their own time.
Richard posted about this today.
Oh, did he? Okay. It's really cool. It's got a lot of different stats, but it's also got, you can add tokens to your wallet. You can buy, the official bridge, Coast, Change Now, TokenX, that sort of thing. But then all of this sort of stuff, like you got portfolio stuff. Actually, Tangent's got a really good thread at the moment talking about all the different portfolios. But I like plsfolio.com. That's actually really cool. But there's all these different stats stuff here. But so these types of sites I think help. I know Pulse Coin List is also another really good one.
Yeah, I always like that one. It's just simple. It's good.
Yeah. And so, but I also think that maybe a Git book, because sometimes when I'm looking at things, I kind of go, where's the, the CAs? Where's the,
You want a pulse chain
how does this work?
specific Git book?
Yes. I think it should
But
be
like
on
everything's contract address that should be correct, and
it should be on the pulsechain.com. Like you should have like,
for some reason people are scared of putting on contract addresses. I don't know. Like I've seen a lot of like, I don't know if you can find them for like Fox. I don't think you can find them for a lot of things.
Oh no, down here it's
stuff is so complicated that nobody knows about it. Like I get a request like maybe twice a year for like, contracts for $2
and to be fair, you can just do a transaction and find out. Like it's not hard.
No, this is not pretty close. But like you're like the interest level and stuff like that. Like it would be of interest to us, but like this is not going to bring the
it might prevent like
a
couple fraudulent scams.
I think
every
the Git
so
book
often
would actually be better for noobs, not so much for me. It's more for like people to kind of go, oh, okay, I'm on pulsechain.com, right? Like, so the advertising has worked and I've got my tablet in the mail and I'm here now. And then, so how does it work? And then, so yeah, you can prepare your wallet and you can buy PLS, and this is pretty good, talking about PLSX, but I still feel like you need it to be a bit more like outlined. Like, when you get Git books, it's got
I was thinking
it tells you.
You're talking Git books. Okay, yeah, that makes way more sense.
Yeah, like a markdown document that is just formatted.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
I don't want to pull one up because it will look like I'm shilling that thing. But normally when I'm investigating like some token or some chain or something, they have Git books, and then
it's just
it goes through and it tells you step by step. Oh, okay, this is what it does. This is how do I earn ink? Oh, okay, there's a farm, and then how do I get the farm to work?
Yeah.
Oh, there's a pairs thing here. Oh, and then this is the contract here, and but how do I? And it just tells you step by step how to do shit. It's basically what it is.
Like a how-to for like most key things. Yeah, that'd be wise.
Look,
it'd be wise. It wouldn't even be hard to put together, really. Probably do it in the afternoon for like most things.
That's an easy one.
One thing that kind of frustrates me is like RH doesn't communicate with anybody, right? So like he's working independently, but like we have, and sometimes he'll post things like this Pulsefolio thing we just looked at, which like he didn't do that, and I don't think he had any hand in it. He's just posting something he thought was cool. That's good, but like if he could reach out and just work with some people, right? We could just get all this stuff done. I think much on a volunteer basis, I would think. Like
no one's getting
paid,
like for sure.
It could all be on, it could all be on pulsechain.com. You go there, here's your links, like, and here's all the
even
tools
if you just put
right here.
Oh, I always blank on the name, but that massive one that just aggregates everything.
Oh, plsstart.me.
That's the one.
Yeah, it's got all the links.
That's pretty awesome.
Like you could have some of those things built into pulsechain.com, right? Like you're asking with the
It kind of should be there. It kind of should be there.
I found an example.
You could do that. You could do that, Base, if you were given the option.
Yeah. I mean, I could still do it off my own back, out of the kindness of my own heart.
You could, but you couldn't get it on pulsechain.com.
No, that's true.
You end up
with
this
probably couldn't get it in front of
group of products, right? Like,
yeah.
I found an example of a Git book that I don't mind shilling.
Vouch. What the hell, man?
yeah, exactly. I'm shilling vouch.
Yeah. Vouch is doing pretty well.
Shill vouch.
But yeah, shill away.
But this is just an example. So it's like you go to the docs page, and then it's got like an introduction, and then there's like a video, and then understanding the protocol, and there's like a video, and it takes you through, and then there's like links, like trusted links to things, so that that these are like legit links. And this one is a tutorial from David Feeder. Shout out to David Feeder, like absolute Chad of the ecosystem, and has returned to streaming, I should mention. And
oh wow,
so please
I gotta check
follow
that out.
follow his streams. They're really good.
It's legendary.
And
so nice too. He's just a pleasant guy.
Yeah. So like, and then so as you go down, you go, okay, this is the ecosystem overview. This is how it works. Like this is like a diagrammatic description of like how the protocol works. And then so this is how you understand like a protocol, right? You kind of go, oh, I get it now. It takes the fees and it uses it to buy back or whatever. I feel like this is how people learn. And then, there's different phases in the rollout. You know what's coming, maybe no expectations. Maybe that's why he hasn't done it. But yeah, so then as you go through these things, like I'm saying, these equivalents would be Pulse X, liquidity providing, the difference between V1 and V2, like how you get farms, how you earn ink, how you stake hex, like what, and then like trusted links to the hex staking, or whatever. Like I know it's already on the website, but I feel like it certainly couldn't have helped. Nearly every project I've seen has some sort of Gitbook sort of document thing. So if someone could get onto that, because I'm lazy, so I'm trying to figure out Cold Fusion over here. So
yeah, and
if I could just encourage someone else to do that, that would be great.
Indeed.
Is there anything else that we want to chat about before there's probably heaps of things, but we can always chat about it next time. Maybe we should wrap this up. I think we've got to the end of the comments. Is there anything you guys want to chat about before we wrap it up?
No, I'm pretty happy.
I won't have any announcements this week. I may have some announcements next week. See how it goes.
Awesome. We like the breaking news. And yeah, thanks to 43 for coming on. Thank you, Fast, and thank you, Base Radian. Thank you, chat, Replay Gang. Is there anything you guys want to say before we jet?
No, I was gonna like try and drop a bomb and then just like exit, but I couldn't even think of something like too spicy.
Hey, I have a sentiment I'd like to send out to the world.
Please.
There's a time-honored tradition of crying in the shower by yourself and not telling anybody. I think people really need to embrace that tradition. Go in your shower, have a good cry, tell no one.
Take an ice cream with you. Take a bucket of ice cream with you. That's the way. That's how I get
a saying
through work hours.
We have a saying in Australia, and it's to have a cup of concrete and harden the fuck up.
That's it.
I don't know. Either way,
not here to flip spiders.
That's right.
That also sounds really weird.
It's well, I softened that up.
There's a few like that, but no. Either way, I think that we need to just embrace the positivity a little bit, and I think if you zoom out in some of this stuff, I think it's not as bad as it all seems. If you zoom right into the volatility,
zoom out.
If you so it's like if you have an example
put
would
it on
be
log.
There's like Johnson noise in engineering, where you have like the thermal noise of all of the electrical components and things like that, electronic components. If you zoom in on the thermal noise, you will think you can see patterns, and you think you can see huge excursions. It is random noise. It is.
You can get you can get a Wi-Fi signal out of them. I don't know if it's the heat or if it's like the electromagnetic field, but you can.
That might be another discussion for.
It's too late in the show for that one.
Yeah, it's too late. You should have brought that shit up when we're talking about the 0 point energy.
You could. That's it.
But maybe in the green room. Tell me about this in the green room. But the point I was making is that if you zoom into random fluctuations, and you can extrapolate all sorts of nonsense that's not there. Sometimes you need to zoom out, and like that's just the noise floor. Like, so yeah, it's not exactly that, because obviously there are uptrends and downtrends, and I get that. But sometimes you just need to zoom out a little bit. So that I would encourage people to do that.
Zoom way.
Anyway, enjoy your weekend, peeps. Rock on. Thanks for watching. See you next time.
Hey.
Cheers.